The last remaining puzzle for me was Wasdale Valley. You have to cross from Scafell proper, not Scafell Pike, over to there, which is Yewbarrow. Yewbarrow is shaped like a dorsal fin. It's a steep sort of knife blade thing, flat on the top. There's a way up at the front, way up at the back. Allegedly there is the Bob Graham route somewhere up the side here, but I can't see it looking. It's a 4-kilometre glide. I don't know if you can see that. It's 4 kilometres from Scafell up there over the summit of Yewbarrow, but you can only lose something like 350 metres, maybe 400 metres, something like that. So you have to glide at 10 to 1, which my glider doesn't do. Some gliders will. So on the higher aspect ratio guys, the guys on higher rated wings might be able to just glide that and top land, but I don't think I can. So it has to either be lift on that glide, or you need to slope land somehow and walk back up. So that's what I'm going to go and try and do today. So I'm at the top of Lords Rake. Down there is Wasdale. Very nice. An extra piece of information, useful information, is that Scafell, there isn't really, I mean Scafell proper, not Scafell Pike, there isn't really a way onto the summit of Scafell without some kind of scrambling or rock climbing. So my plan was to scramble up and fly off the summit over to Yewbarrow, and now it's sort of, I don't know if this is rain or snow, maybe snow. So I can't fly in this. I need this to pass by. But more generally, if you're carrying cross-country paragliding gear and whatever else, if you can't fly off the summit, just scrambling onto the summit of Scafell is a you should take that seriously. You know, you should take it seriously. You should think about how you're going to do it. You should come and recce it. There isn't a path. You have to either scramble up Lords Rake, which is what I've done, or you can come up the other side. But it's always broad stand, is it called? But it's like they're accident black spots for the mountain rescue. So think about it. It's probably best tagged from the air. I think that has to be the conclusion of this, that you don't want to be launching from Scafell. You should be launching somewhere else, tagging it from the air as safely as you can, and then flying over and doing the valley crossing when you think you can. But I may have to return to Wasdale to try this glide to Yewbarrow because, you know, Lake District weather. So. It's a week later and I've come back to try the glide again. I'm looking for a takeoff around the summit of Scafell. I don't know if you can see what the terrain is like. This is a good reason to come and recce this part of the course. If you have a chance to just do one recce, I really recommend that you come and look at the sort of Great End to Scafell Ridge, that Scafell Pike Massif, because the terrain is basically all like this. I don't know if you can see that. So your progress is slower if you're on foot, and there aren't many takeoffs. I'm hoping there is at least one takeoff, otherwise I'm going to look a bit silly. Okay, it's Scafell Summit. Hopefully you can see that. We've got Cloud and Wasdale, Sellafield over there, Fox's Tarn, which is the easiest way to do the Bob Graham. It's just down there. Basically, if you carry on over the summit of Scafell proper and just come to the southern end, there is a little bit of moss and grass. There's one here which is not really big enough to get the wing out. There's another one just down there, maybe 20 meters down the hill, that looks better. So I'm going to go and investigate that and see. Obviously I need the cloud to clear, but I think if you have to take off from the southern end of Scafell, don't be deterred if you get to the summit and you think there's no launches. If you just go past the summit and down a bit, there's a grassier sort of shelf. Post-match analysis of Wasdale, as you'll have seen from the video, it was easterly, so I had to take off into the east face of Scafell into Eskdale, then turn and try and get back over the coll into the lee of Scafell, which is, it was a glide where I should have expected to meet a lot of sinking air, which I did, and so I'll try and play some sections on the vario for you so you can hear the sink alarm going off. At one point I was flying through -4 meters a second, which is, it's pretty hard to make a good glide if you're flying through -4 meters a second. I still got to Yewbarrow with about 1,000 feet. Now what that suggests to me is that on a more normal day, or if there was any lifting air anywhere in this valley, if it was thermic, or even if it was just not lee side, if the wind had been coming up Wasdale instead of spilling over into it, so more like westerly possibly, or southwesterly, on a day like that, maybe I would have made that glide, or maybe not made it perfectly, but I would have at least been able to tag the Yewbarrow cylinder from the air. So, which is key, I think, because the slope landing options there are for a very bold pilot who's very good at slope landing. I think that you could slope land on Yewbarrow on one or two of the ledges, but if you get it wrong, it's very committing. So it's not necessarily an intelligent thing to do. You could tag Yewbarrow from the air, and then you could come around onto the. I'm just driving past it now. You could come around onto the southern nose of it, and there's a lot more landing options there. Other thoughts about Wasdale: it's very technical terrain here. It's difficult technical terrain, and I'm guessing that means that it's thermic if there's sunshine on it. But then there are also there's just a lot going on, and I don't know the hills here particularly well. And the sides of the fells are very steep, so the rotor and the turbulence and the venturi and everything else of all of this terrain is probably much more than I'm used to. It's certainly much steeper and more craggy than lots of the rest of the route, and so it should be treated with respect, and you may lose a bit of time having to lose some height here and then regain it, but hopefully this has been useful for you. The main piece of useful information that I want to convey is that there is a takeoff, there is a launch on the southern end of Scafell. It looks completely bleak when you're up there, it's like the surface of Mars or something, but there is a takeoff. If you just go over the Scafell summit, I don't mean Simmons Knot, which is the sort of other little subsidiary knoll of Scafell, I mean Scafell summit proper. You go over that and just down, you can see it on the map actually as a kind of slightly flatter area. If you go down there, there's a big grassy shelf that would take a southeasterly, a southerly or a southwesterly. Ideally a southwesterly, because if it's southeasterly you'll have to do what I did today, which is lob off and then probably hit massive sink or rotor. So better with a southwesterly, but fortunately our prevailing wind direction is southwesterly, the so-called trade winds. The purpose of these videos has been to try and reduce the uncertainty for pilots who don't live here and can't come and recce this easily, because you have a job and a life and a family and so on. So the idea has been to try and make it easier for pilots who are visiting the Lake District for the first time to see some of the sections, so there are more situations that you recognise. I hope that has been useful to you. Obviously, in different conditions, you would fly it differently to what I've done. You'd almost certainly do it better than I've done. So I'm excited to see it. I think it's a mega course. It's a mega course. It's a tour of the whole Lake District. It's the three peaks. It's Scafell Pike and Skidder and Helvellyn, and it's all the others too, all the hard ones: Fairfield, Great Gable, Scafell proper, Steeple. You're probably going to have to come over Pillar as well, Dale Head, Robinson. It's an awesome course. I'm so excited to see it, and I'm looking forward to seeing you all in June.